The Voynich manuscript is an illustrated codex, handwritten in an unknown script referred to as Voyniches. The vellum on which it is written has been carbon dated to the early 15th century 1404 to 1438. Stylistic analysis has indicated the manuscript may have been composed in Italy during the Italian Renaissance. While the origins, authorship, and purpose of the manuscript are still debated, hypotheses range from a script for a natural language or constructed language, an unread code, cipher, or other form of cryptography, or perhaps a hoax, reference work, folkloric index, or compendium, or work of fiction, for example science fantasy or mythopoeia, metafiction. Speculative fiction currently lacking the translation and context needed to both properly entertain or eliminate any of these possibilities. The manuscript consists of around 240 pages, but there is evidence that pages are missing. The text is written from left to right, and some pages are foldable sheets of varying sizes. Most of the pages have fantastical illustrations and diagrams, some crudely colored, with sections of the manuscript showing people, fictitious plants, astrological symbols, etc. The manuscript is named after Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish book dealer who purchased it in 1912. Since 1969, it has been held in Yale University's Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library. In 2020, Yale University published the manuscript online in its entirety in their digital library. The Voynich manuscript has been studied by both professional and amateur cryptographers, including American and British codebreakers from both World War I and World War II. Codebreakers Prescott Currier, William Friedman, Elizabeth Friedman, and John Tiltman were unsuccessful. The manuscript has never been demonstrably deciphered, and none of the proposed hypotheses have been independently verified. The mystery of its meaning and origin has excited speculation and provoked study. No records of the book for the next 200 years have been found, but in all likelihood it was stored with the rest of Kirker's correspondence in the library of the Collegio Romano, now the Pontifical Gregorian University. It probably remained there until the troops of Victor Emmanuel II of Italy captured the city in 1870 and annexed the Papal States. The new Italian government decided to confiscate many properties of the church, including the library of the Collegio. Many books of the university's library were hastily transferred to the personal libraries of its faculty just before this happened, according to investigations by Xavier Ceccaldi and others, and those books were exempt from confiscation. Kirker's correspondence was among those books, and so, apparently, was the Voynich manuscript, as it still bears the ex libris of Petrus Beckex, head of the Jesuit order and the university's rector at the time. Bex's private library was moved to the Villa Mondragon, Frascati, a large country palace near Rome that had been bought by the Society of Jesus in 1866 and housed the headquarters of the Jesuits' Ghislieri College. In 1903, the Society of Jesus Collegio Romano was short of money and decided to sell some of its holdings discreetly to the Vatican Library. The sale took place in 1912, but not all of the manuscripts listed for sale ended up going to the Vatican. Wilfrid Voynich acquired 30 of these manuscripts, among them the one which now bears his name. He spent the next 7 years attempting to interest scholars in deciphering the script, while he worked to determine the origins of the manuscript. In 1930, the manuscript was inherited after Wilfrid's death by his widow Ethel Voynich, author of the novel The Gadfly and daughter of mathematician George Boole. She died in 1960 and left the manuscript to her close friend and Nil. In 1961, Nil sold the book to antique book dealer Hans P. Krause. Krause was unable to find a beer and donated the manuscript to Yale University in 1969, where it was catalogued as MS 408, sometimes also referred to as Beinecke MS 408. Timeline of ownership. The timeline of ownership of the Voynich manuscript is given below. The time when it was possibly created is shown in green, early 1400s, based on carbon dating of the vellum. Periods of unknown ownership are indicated in white. The commonly accepted owners of the 17th century are shown in orange. The long period of storage in the Collegio Romano is yellow. The location where Wilfrid Voynich allegedly acquired the manuscript Frascati is shown in green late 1800s. Voynich's ownership is shown in red, and modern owners are highlighted blue. The overall impression given by the surviving leaves of the manuscript is that it was meant to serve as a pharmacopoeia or to address topics in medieval or early modern medicine. However, the puzzling details of the illustrations have fueled many theories about the book's origin, the contents of its text, and the purpose for which it was intended. The first section of the book is almost certainly herbal, but attempts have failed to identify the plants, either with actual specimens or with the stylized drawings of contemporaneous herbals. Only a few of the plant drawings can be identified with reasonable certainty, such as a wild pansy and the maiden hair fern. The herbal pictures that match pharmacological sketches appear to be clean copies of them, except that missing parts were completed with improbable details. In fact, many of the plant drawings in the herbal sections seem to be composite. The roots of one species have been fastened to the leaves of another with flowers from a third. Astrological considerations frequently played a prominent role in herb gathering, bloodletting, and other medical procedures common during the likeliest dates of the manuscript. However, interpretation remains speculative, apart from the obvious zodiac symbols and one diagram possibly showing the classical planets. The manuscript has inspired various works of fiction, including Max McCoy 1995 Indiana Jones and the Philosopher's Stone, Lev Grossman 2000 for Codex, Scarlett Thomas 2000 for Popco, Alex Scarrow 2011 Time Riders, The Doomsday Code, Linda Sue Park, 2012 Trust, No One, Dominic Selwood 2013, The Sword of Moses, Deborah Harkness 2014 The Book of Life, Marcia Cartarescu 2015 Solenoid. Between 1976 and 1978, 130 for Italian artist Luigi Serafini created the Codex Serafinianus, containing false writing and pictures of imaginary plants in a style reminiscent of the Voynich manuscript. Contemporary classical composer Hans-Peter Kibbers's 1995 chamber work The Voynich Cipher Manuscript for chorus and ensemble is inspired by the manuscript. The video game Assassin's Creed IV: Black Flag 2013 features pages of the manuscript as in-game collectibles, and Assassin's Creed Rogue 2014 features the book as an element of the game's plot. In 2015, the New Haven Symphony Orchestra commissioned Hannah Lash to compose a symphony inspired by the manuscript. For the 500th strip of the webcomic Sandra and Wu, published the 29th of July 2013, writer Oliver Nerzer and artist Puri Ondini created the Book of Wu for illustrated pages inspired by the Voynich manuscript. All 4 pages show strange illustrations next to a cipher text. The strip was mentioned in MTV Geek and discussed in the Cipher Mysteries blog of cryptology expert Nick Pelling, as well as Klaus's crypto column of cryptology expert Klaus Schma. The Book of Wu was also discussed in the 2017 book Unsolved by Craig Peebauer about the history of famous ciphers. As part of the lead-up to the 1000th strip, Nerzer posted the translated English text on the 28th of June 2018, revealing the crucial obfuscation involved translating the plain text into the constructed language Toki Pona.